Hello and welcome. My name is Eva Dunlap Lewis, and I'll be guiding you through your Communities Connect engagement platform training. Let's get started. As a reminder for these trainings, I'm using the TSJG Connect portal through the downloaded Cubigo app. So when I say Cubigo, I mean TSJG Connect. When I say TSJG Connect, I mean Cubigo. They are one and the same. So I'm using the app version that is downloaded to a computer. If you're using the web browser version or an Android device, then it should look fairly similar. There are some slight changes to the layout of this version of the application versus how it looks on an iPhone and an iPad app. I will point out those differences on the app as they arise. When we do our follow-up trainings, so next week, and the short 30-minute in-person trainings and Zoom trainings, I will be using an iPad. So iPhone and iPad users, if you have a little bit of trouble today because of the slight differences in layout, then next week I definitely recommend that you come and follow along with the follow-up, because I will be using the iPhone iPad version in that training to display my screen. And a reminder or just a note about these trainings, I highly recommend that you follow along and watch. Keep your eyes up here during the training rather than trying to follow along on your device at the same time. It'll be really good for you to learn these patterns that I'm teaching you. If you can learn and watch and follow along up here, it'll be very helpful to you when you're practicing them on your own device, regardless of the version that you have. So if this is your first time watching the video training or participating in one of these trainings, I recommend that you just set your device on the table in front of you, sit on your hands, and watch. Are we ready to go? Hooray, okay. In this video lesson, I will be discussing the news feed and the information cube, which includes the resident and team directories. We'll start with the news feed. The news feed is where you can find news about ongoing events, activities, and notifications posted by your TSJG team members. To access the news feed from the home page, which is what we're looking at now, the home page, you can click News in the menu. The menu is located at the top of the screen for me up here, and it's on the bottom of the screen for iPhone and iPad users. In the menu, we're looking for the word News. So whatever version we're using, we get started by clicking or tapping News. Again, I recommend you just watch for this first time through. After we click or tap News, the screen changes and we will see information posted by our community team members. This information is in the form of a post. It's important to note that this recording is taking place in March of 2022. So if you're following along with this video in the future, you're probably going to see different posts. It's not likely that you're going to see the same exact posts that I'm talking about up here, but they will still have some of the same components. So again, for those of you viewing this training anytime after March of 2022, be aware that the posts that you see on your news feed on your device will not match the ones that I am showing up here. All right, on with the training. This page here is ordered chronologically with the newest posts at the top and older posts as we move down the page. Let's take a look at that first post, which is at the top of the page. So it is the newest, most recent post. Oh, it's a scavenger hunt. I love scavenger hunts. I wish I could be there for that. So here we are. We're looking at the most recent post. We can see that there's an image here associated with the post, and that's usually the first thing that we see. Sometimes there is some important text on the image so we can read it. And this one says, Shamrock Scavenger Hunt. There are 10 large shamrocks hidden around campus. Find them all for a chance to win a prize. Pick up a scavenger hunt sheet near the message boxes in Valencia. You have until 3/16 to turn in your sheet for a chance to win a prize. Winners will be drawn on 3/17. That is so cool. I would totally do that. Underneath whatever image is associated with a post, we can see the title of the post. In this case, it's Shamrock Scavenger Hunt starts 3/7. Underneath that, we get to see activities right here, activities. That is the category that this post is associated with. We'll also see when this was posted, so when it was added to your newsfeed 1 day ago. We can see a little bit more text here. Grab a scavenger hunt sheet near the message boxes in Valencia and start hunting. You have until 3/16 to turn in your sheet for a chance to win a prize. We could click or tap right here where it says read more. Whenever something is written in blue and is underlined, it is a link. It is a hyperlink. Does anyone know what a link is? What does a link do? It takes us somewhere. If we click it, it will take us somewhere and open up another page. So if I hit read more, then it's going to show us more information. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down and we're going to look at another post because not all posts have the same components. This one does have another image with some important text associated with it. Beanbag baseball season schedule. I can see the schedule. If I scroll down, I will see the title of this post, Beanbag baseball season schedule. The category, again, is activities, posted 1 day ago. 0 comments. We're going to come back to that comments section in a moment. Let's keep going because I'm looking for a post that might have an attachment on it. So it looks like a lot of these, here we go, here this one has an attachment. March Miles Challenge, record how many miles you walk, bike, or cycle in the month of March. Contact Olivia with any questions. The title of this is Reminder, the March Miles Challenge begins tomorrow, 3/1. This was posted 8 days ago. The category again is activities. We could click read more to see more information. And then we have this. What is this? Can anyone tell me?
It's a document.
It's an attachment. Right, it is an attachment. So below the post category, any information, and below the title, usually is where we see if there are any attachments. For iPhone and iPad users, it'll show you the word attachment and then 1 in parentheses. That's how you know that you have an attachment on a post. An attachment is usually something that's going to hold more information. And an example of an attachment might be a flyer or a letter. They're meant to be viewed separately. So if we click or tap this attachment, the screen will change. And now we can see the attachment. We're looking at the actual attachment. iPhone and iPad users, you guys have to click the word attachment once and then click the word attachment again, and then you'll be taken into this attachment. So you click attachment once, you click the actual attachment name, and then you're in it if you're using an iPhone or an iPad. So here's the attachment. On this page, I can zoom in or zoom out. Who knows what I mean by that?
Make it bigger or smaller?
Yeah, make it bigger or smaller. Zooming in makes it bigger. On the computer version or web browser version, we can click or tap the plus button at the top of the page and it will make it larger. We can hit the minus icon and it will make it smaller. For iPhones and iPads, we can place 2 fingers on the screen and pull them apart to make it larger. 2 fingers on the screen pulling together will allow you to zoom back out and make it smaller. We can even print this attachment if we so chose to, but we would need to have our own printer connected. I don't even own a printer, so unfortunately I can't print this attachment. But on my version, I can hit the print icon located in the top right corner and go through my printing process. For iPhone and iPads, typically you're looking for a share icon that is visible in the bottom left or bottom right. It looks like a box with an arrow coming out of it. And after you hit that box, you would choose the option scroll down and hit print. So who knows, why would we print an attachment? Well, maybe it was a form. If it was something that we had to fill out and turn in, we might print that attachment. We might print an attachment just in case it was something that we wanted a hard copy of, right? So we may find ourselves printing attachments. It's always important to take a look at how large an attachment is before you print it, because we all know it's not the printer that's expensive, it's the ink, right? That's how they get you. So on my screen, to see how many pages an attachment is, I can see up here in the top left, it says 1 of 1. If you're viewing an attachment on an iPhone or an iPad, then you can scroll down, and as you scroll down that attachment, it would show you in the top left how many pages that attachment is. Are there any questions about this attachment before I move on? No? All right. So to leave the attachment on the computer application, what I'm looking at up here, I can click or tap the back arrow in the top left, right up here. Alternatively, we could also just hit news in the menu to quickly get back to the news feed. But I'm going to hit the back arrow right here. If you're using the iPhone or the iPad app and you're following along, you tap done in the top left, and then you can tap the back arrow to get back to the news feed. So where am I right now? What am I looking at? What part of TSJG Connect am I in currently? Can you say it a little louder?
News.
Yeah, I'm looking at the news feed. Very good. So I can scroll back down here and see more information on my news feed if I chose to. Now let's see if there's anything that I want to comment on.
and you find Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo? What's with Monte Carlo?
We're supposed to have a dinner. I can't find it to sign into.
Because it's not on yet.
It's on this Friday.
That might be a question better for activities. If you can hold that question, I'll answer it at the end of class.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that initial one up here because I want to show you what comments are. And this is the post that I, as an individual, am the most excited about on your TSJG newsfeed. So here we actually have the opportunity to comment on a post. We can comment on posts. We can say anything that we want, but please keep things positive and polite. If a post has passed, we could comment that we attended and that we enjoyed the activity, or even thank the team member for posting valuable information. So there's a lot of reasons that we may want to comment on a post. To make a comment on the news feed and on a particular post, on my version up here, I'll hit where it says 0 comments, and then a text box appears. So in this text box, I can click it or tap it and write my comment. This looks like so much fun. I wish I could participate. To send my comment, I can hit send. And now everybody in your community can see my comment. I'm practically famous, right? So here's my comment. This looks like so much fun. I wish I could participate. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad and you want to make a comment, then you have to tap on the post, tap on the word comments, and then type your comment at the bottom of the page and hit send. Then you'll have to hit the back arrow and the back arrow to get back to the news feed. We'll talk more about that and show that option when we are doing the follow-up training and we're working from the iPhone, iPad version. We can delete our own comments, but we cannot delete anyone else's comments. If we want to delete one of our comments, we hit the trash can icon and our comment would disappear. But I'm going to leave that one because I mean it. This looks like so much fun. I wish I could participate. Okay. So now that we've learned a good amount about the news feed, I want to talk to you about one more really important item here. Do you all remember when I was talking about the category of these posts? I was saying this one's activities, this one is activities, this one is activities. There's always a lot of activity ones. Activity, activity, activities, dining, activities. I'm going to do a couple more. Activities, activities, and hey, look at all these attachments down here. More activities. So it's important that we look at and pay attention to when there is a category on a post. Here's an important one, and it says information. So far we've seen a lot of activities categories. We've seen an information and a dining. Why would this be important? Well, we can filter news feed posts. Does anyone here know what a filter is? What is that?
It's a way to select the category.
It is, in this case, it's a way to select a category, but we can use a filter to select which category of information we want to view on the news feed at a certain time. Yes. A filter works just like your coffee filter at home works, where it will keep certain information out, right? So we can find our filter at the top of the news feed. I'm going to go back to the top and check this out. Category show all. That's my filter. The category is currently showing me all. But if I click or tap show all, I can choose instead a different category. Maybe I only want to see dining posts. Here we go. Dining. I can change it instead to information. Now I'm only seeing posts on information. So this is an easy way to filter down information and different posts found on your news feed. We can change it back by clicking next to category and instead choosing show all. And I know one complaint from, well, I won't say complaint, one enhancement request made by many residents for TSJG Connect and Cubigo was to remove old posts, information about activities that may have already occurred. So I'm excited to tell you that between around mid-March, mid-April, somewhere in that time frame, your content managers and life enrichment team members will be able to set an expiration date for posts. So things won't be on there long after they've already passed. That's kind of exciting, right? Well, before I move on to the information cube, are there any questions about the news feed, about commenting and looking at attachments? Are there any questions or comments here? What about, has anyone in here actually used the category filter on the news feed before? What was that?
No one,
No one. Well, do you think you'll use it now?
probably.
Okay, good. Great. So who can tell me, how do I get to the information cube from here?
Hit the second box.
Oh, home, so home.
I want to hit home. I want to go home. That's right. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you hit home at the bottom left of the screen. If you're using a computer or browser version like I am, then you hit home at the top of the screen up here. And now we are home. We are back to TSJG Connect, the home page. This is where we can see our schedule, any news, the dining menu, and of course our wonderful cubes. The first cube that we have is the information cube. It's blue and it's got a building on it. To open and get into the information cube from the home page, we click or tap it. And here we are. We are at the main page, the first page of the information cube. And this is a really important cube for TSJG Connect. Like other cubes, it's found on the home page, but we want to use it so that we can see various important information that our community team members post to us. So it's similar to the news feed, but we might find other information here like resident handbooks or community maps, emergency plans, and of course, the resident directory and the team directory are both found on the information cube. So below this first section of the information cube where we can see the address and the phone number, here we can see the buttons for our directories, resident directory and team directory. We'll come back to these in a moment. Also on this page, if we scroll down, we will find in memoriam weekly garden news, tech ed schedule and vocabulary list, community visitation guidelines, and TSJG stores. All of this text is meant to be clicked or tapped so that we can reveal more information. If I click or tap in memoriam, then I can see these names of very important residents. If I click or tap weekly garden news, what's this, guys? What am I looking at here? It's an attachment. So I can click this attachment to view it, and it's the TSJG weekly garden news. The date here is March 5th. How many pages is this? It's 2. See, 1 of 2 up here. So I have the events calendar, and then I have all this news. To get out of this attachment, I can hit the back arrow in the top left on the computer version, or I could hit done on the iPhone, iPad version. I can click or tap tech ed schedule and vocabulary list. This one is giving me a link to go to a different website. Here is the community visitation guidelines. Looks like, Quincy, there's nothing in here right now, so you might want to actually put an attachment in there. TSJG stores, and we have 3 attachments here. We can click them or tap them to view the attachments and see all of that wonderful information. The back arrow or done to go back. So we can repeat that for all of these items here. So that's a little bit about what can be found on your information cube. One thing that I'm recommending to all of our wonderful content managers like Quincy would be on every cube somewhere towards the top, if you can put this cube is managed by, and then whoever puts information up on that cube, we found that your residents seem to really like that type of transparency and know who is in charge of what, so that if there's anything that needs to be changed or they find an error, that they can alert the right person. Can you do that for us, Quincy?
Absolutely, I can.
Hooray!
Not a problem.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Are there any questions on any of these? Excuse me?
How often is the information changed or updated?
Quincy, can you tell us that?
How often is it updated? So the things that are things like the TSJG stores, those are constant things.
Right.
And so if there's things that are in there, but like for example, for the weekly garden news, that's weekly. So I do that every Saturday after it gets placed in the mail. You guys get the hard copy in your mailboxes. This gets updated weekly on here. So you'll always see the most current. And same with the in memoriam. When we put a name up there, we give it about 2 to 3 weeks of having that name, and then we take it off. So if we go like maybe 2 or 3 months without any of our friends passing away, that's going to stay blank. But say we go through a hard time and there's multiple names, then that we could be adding people daily for that type of thing.
Great. Thank you, Quincy. That's very helpful. And Quincy, who in your community manages your resident and team directories?
That is a very good question. Because I will say our struggle currently is real when it comes to our directories.
Oh, everybody's is. Don't worry. That's not just limited to TSJG.
Thank goodness.
I am working with Melissa Sanders and Katie Gaddy to find ways that we can streamline that. If you can find out who manages it, I highly recommend that you input that up here as well, so residents know who is in charge of the directory. Okay.
That's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being so awesome, Quincy. So guys, are we ready to talk about the directories?
If you want to go there, Eva, by all means, go for it.
I'll do it. I know exactly what I'm getting into here. Don't worry. So we have two directories. We have a resident directory and we have a team directory, and they are under construction. Okay, that means we are making modifications to them. We're trying to make them better all the time, and we're still working on how exactly we want them to operate. So I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about how they work now, and also about how we hope that they will work in the future. Does that sound like a plan? Okay, go easy on me, all right? For this next portion of our video training, I have pulled a clip from the directory of the White Sands Connect portal. Thus, what you are seeing here in this next portion of the lesson on the resident and team directories will not be your community unless you live at White Sands. Do not fret, it is okay, because the functions of the directory work the same across the communities. Only the faces, which will be blurred anyway, will not be visible. I'm doing it this way because for legal and privacy reasons, I cannot show residents' faces. Ready? All right, here we go. Here we are, still on the main page of the Informations Cube. What you're seeing here is the Informations Cube for White Sands, but it should look pretty much the same for your community as well. At the top of the page on this cube, we can find access to the resident directory and the team directory. The resident directory is where you can find names and information for residents at your community. And the team directory is where you can find names and information for team members at your community. Let's start first with the resident directory. To view the directory, we click or tap where it says Resident Directory. After a moment, the screen loads and the resident directory is visible. You'll notice on my screen up here, the faces are blurred. You can't actually see the residents on this page. When you're searching and view the resident directory, you won't have that problem. Again, I just did this for legal and privacy reasons. Once inside the resident directory, we're going to see residents listed by last name first. In some cases, you may see a resident without a photo and without a name. There are two possibilities for this. One, it could be that this is a resident who, for their own personal privacy reasons, chose not to be shown in the resident directory. Or two, it's that this person is a short-term resident. We have a couple options for finding a resident in the resident directory. Firstly, we could scroll down the page and just look for the resident we want to find. Remember that this page is sorted by last name first. Alternatively, we could use the search bar or a filter to find a specific resident. We can find the search bar and the filter back at the top of the page of the resident directory. Let's talk about the filter first. On my screen, to the right of the search bar, I have the option for all. This is a filter. We can change or adjust the filter, and in computing, a filter acts just like your coffee filter. When using a filter, only certain things are allowed to pass through. So by default, we're viewing all residents in all levels of living. For iPhones and iPads, instead of seeing the word all, you'll see all roles. So for iPhones and iPads, all roles is your filter for levels of living. To search for a resident in a particular level of living, click or tap where it says all or all roles, depending on what you see, and make your selection. This will now act as a filter, removing everyone as an option that is not in this level of living. For my example, I'm going to keep the filter to all. So when I search for a resident by name or apartment number, I will be looking through all levels of living. For some communities, this is the only filter, levels of living. But by the end of 2022, all communities will have access to another filter, interests. Here's what it'll look like when you have interests available as a filter. It'll show up to the right of all. With this filter, interests, we can find residents that may share common interests with us. All we have to do is click or tap all interests and scroll through the list to select an interest. There are tons of interests to choose from. You can click an interest and then it will show you those residents that are also interested in that topic. In order for this to work, however, you as an individual and your other residents have to complete their profile and fill out their interests. We have another training video on this process available. So perhaps after watching this video training, you watch the training on editing your profile to learn how to add your interests and become searchable in the directory by interest. Last reminder, this may not yet be available in your community, but by the end of 2022, it will be. To search for a resident by name or apartment, click the text box to the left of all. On iPhones and iPads, it is above all. And then type a name. As you type, the results will begin to filter based on the letters that you have typed in. For my example, I'm going to search the name Donald, looking for Donald Duck, who is not actually a resident at White Sands. After typing the name, we can see the search results. When you find the resident that you are looking for, you can click or tap their name or where it says View Profile. The screen will change. And now we can see that resident's profile. It'll be a larger view of their image, and we'll be able to see their phone numbers, their apartment numbers, their emails, if listed. We also have the opportunity to chat from here, but we'll learn about that in future lessons. It's important to note that viewing this page is a little bit simpler when using an iPhone or an iPad. We can actually see more about this resident if they've chosen to add any information to their public profile section within Community Connect. On the computer version, what I see up here, I have the option to click About. And then I can see any of the public information that this resident chose to add about themselves. For iPhone and iPad users, this will automatically show up on the profile. You do not have to click it separately. To leave this page on my version, I look for the X located in the top right corner of this window. I click the X and I will be taken back to the resident directory where I searched for Donald. For iPhone and iPad users, you want to hit the word cancel to the right of your search bar. Now we have to clear out our search. So we want to click or tap the search bar and delete the text of the name we searched for. And we'll be taken back to the full resident directory. Here we can hit the back arrow where it says information to be taken back to the main page of the information cube on computers, or we can hit done for iPhone and iPad users, also located in the top left. Now here we are back to the main page of the information cube, where we can find both the resident directory and the team directory. Let's move on to the team directory, which works very similarly to the resident directory. We'll start by clicking or tapping where it says Team Directory. After a moment, the screen loads and the team directory is visible. Just like the resident directory, once inside the team member directory, we're going to see team members listed by last name first. We have a couple of options for finding a team member in the directory. Firstly, we could scroll down the page and just look for the team member we want to find. Alternatively, we could use the search bar back at the top of the page of the team directory. Currently, your team members are working hard to input and update all the team member data. So although you may not see many photos now, that should change in the future. You'll also be able to search not only by name, but by typing in a role, such as dining or maintenance. That feature should also be up and running in the future. Right now, I'm just going to search by name. We'll start by clicking or tapping the text box at the top of the page. As you type, the results will begin to filter based on the letters that you have typed into the text box. For my example, I'm going to search the name Gary, looking for Gary Borriero, Executive Director of White Sands. After typing the name, we can see the search results below. When we find the team member that we're looking for, we can click or tap their name or where it says View Profile. The screen will change, and now we can see that team member's profile. It'll show a larger view of their image, and we will be able to see their phone numbers and emails if listed. We also have the opportunity to start a chat from here, but we'll learn more about this in future lessons. It's important to note that viewing this page is a little bit simpler when using an iPhone or an iPad. You can actually see more about this team member if they've chosen to add any information to their public profile section within Community Connect. On the computer version, what I see up here, I have the option to click About, and then I can see any of the public information that this team member chose to add about themselves. However, for iPhone and iPad users, this will automatically show up on the profile. You don't have to click About separately. It just shows up. As you'll notice, not every resident or team member chooses to add any information in the About section of their public profile. To leave this page, on my version, I'll look for the X located in the top right corner of this window. I can click the X and I'll be taken back to the team member directory where I searched for Gary. For iPhone and iPad users, you want to hit the word cancel to the right of your search bar. Now we have to clear out our search box. We want to click or tap the search bar and delete the text of the name we searched for. And we'll be taken back to the full team member directory. Here we can hit the back arrow where it says Information to be taken back to the main page of the information cube on computers. iPhone and iPad users can hit Done, also located in the top left, to be taken back to the main page of the information cube. And that's it. We're back to the main page of the information cube. Now we can go back to the home page by hitting Home at the top of the menu for computer versions, or hitting Home at the bottom of the screen for iPhone and iPad users. If you're following along, you'll see the home page of your Community Connect portal and not the White Sands page, unless you actually live at White Sands. Thank you so much for watching. Rewatch as much as you need to, and check back for more training videos soon. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.